Welcome back, everyone. Let's just dive right into today's explainer. We are looking at a truly fascinating organizational structure today by examining a company called RevCalls. Now, on the surface, you might think you're looking at two totally different worlds, but as we're going to uncover, RevCalls has built this really remarkable model that connects a vast, highly organized back-end of digital services directly to something deeply physical and tangible, and that is property protection. There's always this inherent friction between abstract digital services and tangible boots-on-the-ground physical labor. It is extremely unusual for an organization to try and master both of those things. So we're going to map out exactly how an infrastructure built on things like digital marketing and data entry actually scales all the way to putting a sturdy, reliable roof over your head. But before we even start unpacking the mechanics of this company's ecosystem, let's ask a pretty fundamental question. How do you protect what matters most? This isn't just some catchy marketing slogan. It's the core anxiety that literally drives the physical side of their business model. When you think about your home, your family, your physical assets, there is a deep-seated need for safety and reliability, right? Everything we're about to explore today, every single phone call made, every data point tracked, every connection facilitated, it all ultimately circles back to answering this exact question. It establishes a very real, very human need for security long before a single hammer is ever swung.
All right, moving on to Section 1. The RevCalls ecosystem, a massive back-end infrastructure.
So to really wrap our heads around how this model protects physical property, we first have to understand the sheer macro scale of their business services. We're talking about intricate CRM management, dedicated customer support, high-volume lead generation, data entry, and virtual assistants. The whole foundation of RevCalls is fundamentally built on massive, high-volume digital organization. Now, to put the weight of this into perspective, think about a typical local roofer or contractor. They're usually incredibly skilled at their trade, but they notoriously struggle with these exact digital tasks. Try managing a sales pipeline or answering customer calls while you're literally 30 feet up on a ladder. By centralizing this massive menu of back-end operations, RevCalls creates a macro infrastructure that acts as an absolute game changer for a highly fragmented local contracting industry. And it really helps to split these operations into two distinct engines to understand how the model functions. First, consider the support services. So, virtual assistants, customer support, data entry, and CRM management. These are your foundational administrative tasks. They stabilize the business. They would keep the lights on, the customers happy, and the data impeccably clean. On the flip side, we have the growth services. This is the proactive side of the model. We're talking lead generation, sales development, digital marketing, appointment setting, cold calling, and social media management. These functions aren't just supporting what's already there. They are proactive engines working to scale the business, constantly reaching out and building new networks. One side stabilizes while the other side scales. Which brings us to Section 2, bridging the gap, where digital meets physical. Just think about the stark contrast between the distinct industries this infrastructure actually serves. On one hand, you have digital or more abstract fields like e-commerce, healthcare, and real estate, sectors heavily reliant on pixels, virtual transactions, and complex data stacks. But then you have physical trades like roofing, solar, and HVAC. These are highly physical, hands-on, weather-dependent industries. It's actually a surprising fact that the construction and physical trade sector is globally recognized as one of the least digitized industries in the world. Tech stacks are almost never optimized for blue-collar trades. Yet, RevCalls intentionally stretches its operational capabilities across these completely virtual spaces to facilitate vital connections in the physical world, bringing digital efficiency to traditionally analog environments. And what this creates is just a fascinating operational funnel. Think about how thousands of digital interactions, the cold calling, the appointment setting, the CRM data management we just talked about, are meticulously distilled down to a single physical intervention on a residential street. All of that expansive cloud-based machinery exists to ultimately connect clients to real-world dependable physical solutions. They're effectively leveraging the limitless speed and scale of digital growth services to solve highly specific, very physical problems out in the real world. Okay, Section 3. The roofing promise, zooming in on protection. Now that we've looked at the macro ecosystem, we can zoom all the way into the micro focus of their specific customer-facing roofing division. Listen to their core ethos for a second. Stronger roofs, safer homes, built to last. Notice a rhythm of those three pillars. It's an intentional repetition designed to establish a feeling of absolute stability. Because psychologically, when homeowners are dealing with major structural repairs, they aren't just looking to buy shingles and nails. They are looking to buy peace of mind.
By anchoring their messaging in strength and safety, the business model taps directly into the natural anxieties of homeownership and offers a definitive resolution. From an analytical standpoint, their business model relies heavily on guaranteeing a few explicit outcomes: durability, safety, and long-term performance. The scope of these professional roofing solutions absolutely must cover the entire spectrum of property needs to be viable. Whether a property is dealing with minor wear and tear that just needs localized repairs, or it necessitates a complete structural roof replacement, the model depends on delivering quality craftsmanship through an experienced team. It is an infrastructure entirely predicated on trust and long-term reliability.
And finally, Section 4, Connecting with Experts, the resolution. So what is the ultimate goal of this entire ecosystem? It's simply to get connected. RevCalls doesn't necessarily deliver on this promise by having their digital marketing team or data entry specialists put on hard hats and swing the hammers themselves. Instead, they act as the ultimate reliable connector. Think of them almost like the structural scaffolding that holds up the local experts. They utilize their massive back-end infrastructure to bridge the gap between a homeowner in distress and the highly specific, vetted roofing experts who actually execute that superior craftsmanship on site. We can visualize this as a highly logical three-step customer journey. Step 1 is the catalyst, identifying the need for repairs or a full replacement. Step 2 is the bridge, getting connected with the roofing experts. And step 3 is the action, scheduling a free inspection. Now, typically, this journey is full of friction. Homeowners don't know who to trust. Contractors miss phone calls because they're busy on a job site, and follow-ups just fall through the cracks. But because of the robust CRM management and appointment setting services we analyzed earlier, that normal friction is entirely smoothed out. Moving from a vulnerable property to a scheduled expert inspection becomes a completely seamless, structured process. So we started this explainer by asking how you protect what matters most. We've seen how modern digital ecosystems are quietly acting as the invisible architects of our physical world, using immense data infrastructures to deploy physical, expert roofing solutions precisely where they're needed. It's a brilliant fusion of two vastly different industries. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought, drawn directly from their focus on long-term performance. Think about your own home for a second. Will your property stand the test of time? If you aren't absolutely sure, it might be time to take advantage of seamless systems like this to seek out an inspection. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.